The word flavor in Chinese can mean many different things. It refers primarily to the taste and smell of food and drink, but its meaning is not restricted to this context. Chinese people can also appreciate flavor with the heart. As in other languages, in Chinese, the word for sweet can refer to joy and happiness. Sweetness is the most easily detectable flavor on the human tongue, and the word sweet is most commonly associated with sugar. However, to Ah Hong, sugar is much, much more than just a sweet substance. In the morning, Ah Hong is preparing to boil some sugar on the hot stove. Ah Hong's recipe for the candy tube has been passed down for generations. Ah Hong is making much more than usual today in preparation for tomorrow's winter festival. Ah Hong's family shop is located in Da Hao district in the city of Shantou. A short distance away, Arju is busy smoking ducks over a charcoal fire. The wooden barrel emitting the sweet smoke at the door has been here since Zhu was a child. Zhu's family has always used the most traditional method of making smoked duck. This method, which Zhu learned from his father, is 300 years old.
红糖、五香粉、醋、盐，这个也是结合我们潮汕人的口味而调制的一种酱料，一直都是这样。
Traditionally, brown sugar is the unrefined sugar extracted from sugarcane, and as such, it retains most of the nutrients from the sugarcane. However, people in this region also use brown sugar to cure foods. The duck is first marinated in sugar and then hung on the inner wall of a barrel and smoked over a charcoal fire for 40 minutes. The fuel used to smoke the ducks is bagasse.
"钢汁蟹里面有少许的糖分，可以使鸭皮有甜味，也可以使鸭子本身的颜色可以深一点。
The restaurant uses about 40 kilos of bagasse a day. They obtain it from the many hectares of sugarcane grown at the foot of the mountains, just 20 kilometers away. Thanks to the abundant sunshine and moist air, this area has become China's main sugarcane producer. The sweet flavor of sugarcane comes from the sugars produced by photosynthesis. The sugarcane gradually accumulates sugar during the winter. Sugarcane is not only a nutritious product, but a great comfort food during the winter months. Naturally, sugar provides the sweetness in the foods of many regions of China. Over 1,000 kilometers from Dahao is the city of Wuxi, a prosperous hub of industry and commerce. Although not a sugar-producing area, Wuxi is famous for its sweet cuisine. The locals believe that spare ribs in Wuxi-style sauce best represents Wuxi cuisine. This dish is most famous for its sweet taste. The sugar used in Wuxi-style sauce comes from Guangdong. Traditionally, almost 1/10 of the weight of the dish is sugar, something that is unimaginable to people from other parts of China. The ribs are cooked over low heat to allow the flavor to fully develop in the meat. The ribs are deliciously sweet and salty, the basic flavors of Wuxi cuisine. Thanks to Wuxi's fertile land, the city has always been prosperous. But the area does not produce sugar, so it's hard to say why people from Wuxi have such a sweet tooth. Ah Hong believes that the key to boiling down sugar is temperature control. After the sugarcane juice has been filtered, it's reheated. Ah Hong uses his finger to accurately measure the temperature of the sugar, and it's a skill that took him 3 years to master.
我们潮汕有一句话，要做坛菜要练到了那个铁手、臀子，才不怕烫。
When the syrup is ready, it's poured into a wok. The wok is gently rotated to help the syrup cool and remove air bubbles. The syrup is then repeatedly pulled while it is still hot until it turns white. It is now ready to eat.
"一家人团团圆圆的时候，吃了那坛餐哈，表示了一家人甜甜蜜蜜的仪式。
Each piece has 16 evenly distributed holes around the edge. Ah Hong's candy is fragrant and crispy. The last batch of smoked ducks produced using the ancient method is done. Business is better than ever. Winter festival diners can hardly wait for the ducks on the wall to dry. At the ancestral temple, people present dessert offerings to their ancestors as the performance begins. They also hope that by doing this, they will bring themselves good fortune. Ah Hong hopes that his traditional craft will continue to bring fortune to his family. Young Ah Ju, however, hopes to find a suitable partner to expand his business. Although everyone has a different dream, they are all connected to sweetness, the flavor of happiness. Although Chinese people have a sweet tooth, they also enjoy bitter foods. The bitter taste receptors are located towards the back of the tongue, but they are unusually sensitive. Chinese people like to eat bitter foods because of their rich flavor. However, some flavorings, such as dried tangerine peel, are also bitter. Chen Baizhong's family has been making dried tangerine peel for 4 generations. In his neighborhood, many families are in the same business.
不能离开陈皮，因为它们就是我们的一条根，它不单单是一种我们的谋生工具。
In October, tangerines turn from green to orange. People use this plump, ripe fruit to make their product. Only the peel of the tangerine is used. The rest is discarded. On clear, hot days, the peelings are air-dried.
我们从新皮到5年之内的皮，我们每1年基本上都要晒一次。等它那水分、糖分、油分基本上挥发去了，性质比较稳定了，我们就不用晒了。
The longer the peelings are stored, the more they are worth. Chinese people love the bittersweet taste of tangerine peel. Like green tea, tangerine peel is nowhere as popular as in China. Dried tangerine peel was originally used in Chinese medicine, but over time, chefs began experimenting with it in their cuisine. In southern China, the use of tangerine peel can determine the success or failure of a restaurant. Macau is a city where East meets West. At 6 p.m., Alan takes his ingredient purchases back to his seafood restaurant. The restaurant, which is named after Alan's grandfather, has been doing well for over half a century. And the secret is his duck with tangerine peel. The complex recipe was created by Alan's grandfather. The duck is lightly fried after it has been marinated for 10 hours. More seasoning is then added, including, of course, dried tangerine peel, the key ingredient. Water is then added to the pan and the duck is steamed for 2 hours. When it's done, the flavour of the tangerine peel has been fully absorbed by the duck. The meat is soft with a rich sweet taste thanks to the tangerine peel. Growing up, Alan remembers that his parents spent all their waking hours working in the restaurant.
他们永远都找生活吧，没有钱去抢个服务员，我就是服务员。我8岁了，我们又帮我爸爸妈妈做好这个店的东西，搞不了这个明天就没东西卖了。研究后才能做这个作业。穷人的孩子走当家就是这样。
The fragrant smell of the tangerine peel seems to make time pass quickly. Alan now has a stable job and income. His life so far could be summed up as, after the bitterness comes sweetness.
辛苦当然也会累的，但是另外有一份满足感，对我的工作、对我的表现有一个认同的感觉。 这是最开心的。
The Chinese saying, after the bitterness comes sweetness, is not just about taste. It's also an expression of perseverance in the face of adversity. Chinese people believe that a successful life must include the 5 basic flavors. A good companion for both sweetness and bitterness is saltiness. Salt is arguably the ultimate condiment for us all. Salt is essential for human life. The sodium and chloride in the salt helps maintain a constant level of water in our bodies. It also enhances almost every dish we eat. Salt is particularly important in Chinese cooking to bring out the flavour and improve the texture. It's listed as the primary seasoning in all Chinese cuisine. Liu works in the salt fields whenever weather permits.
把那个盐水把它搞均匀一点啊，节盐的时候比较平均一点啊。 不好，结晶太慢了。
Liu lives on the coast in Guangdong province, where villagers still produce salt using an ancient technique. The method of producing salt by allowing seawater to evaporate in a field has a history of over 400 years. Chinese people have been boiling seawater for salt for more than 5,000 years. Liu has 17 salt fields and they're only 1 kilometre from the sea. Four-year-old Liu Tao Tao always accompanies his father to the salt fields. The salt water is stored in a well which is connected to the sea. Extracting salt from seawater requires sunlight and moving air. As the water gradually evaporates, the salt begins to crystallize. Liu produces unrefined large grain salt, an essential ingredient in kitchens all along the east coast of Guangdong.
它很晶莹的嘛，很透明。这种盐就天然的盐，这种就比较好的。塞进去。
Ye Qiaojian is from a Hakka community in eastern Guangdong. He uses a traditional method for making his salt-baked chicken. Baking the chicken locks in the flavor.
就说这个盐呐，炒到它那个水蒸气呢，基本上没有了。
The chicken is then wrapped in paper and slowly baked with the salt. The large grain sea salt absorbs the moisture from the chicken.
现在盐的香味呢，已经出来了。
This results from the combination of heat and salt. Salt-baked chicken can be shredded or cut into pieces. Ye believes that the simplest method of shredding the chicken avoids damage to the fibers in the meat. The sea salt makes the meat tight and elastic, and of course it enhances the flavor of the chicken. Salt-baked chicken is closely connected to the Hakka people and their history. Over 1,000 years ago, war and famine forced the ancestors of the Hakka people to migrate southward, and they eventually settled in a mountainous area of southern China. But during their long and arduous journey, they had only salt to preserve their food. As a result, their taste for salt practically became ingrained in their genes, and it's been passed down from generation to generation. Liu and his wife are expecting their second child. Liu's income from salt is not enough, so he also works as an electrician and fisherman. Most people here have part-time jobs outside the village, and the fact is, large tracts of the salt fields have been abandoned. Liu, however, has decided to stay.
人是历史，说来说去，我们是保护历史。如果可以出外面去分家打工，赚多一点点，辛苦哎是必然的啦。这样辛苦有这样的回报，我就不怕。
Sour is a wonderful taste. We sense it with our noses as well as our tongues. Sour foods release hydrogen ions which stimulate our taste buds. Most of the sour taste in Chinese food comes from vinegar. Chinese people make vinegar from grain, but the vinegar of each region varies with the ingredients and the processes used to make it. Shanxi vinegar has a strong, bold flavor just like the people of northern China. The vinegar of southern China is also thought to reflect their character. Zhenjiang vinegar is slightly sweet, making it suitable for cold dishes and as a dip. The vinegar inside the steamed buns with crab filling popular in Zhenjiang gives them their authentic taste. People in Zhenjiang also believe that shredded ginger and Zhenjiang vinegar are essential for Zhenjiang's famous cured pork. But such a delicious sour flavor does not come quickly. Zhenjiang vinegar is made from glutinous rice. Soaked glutinous rice is boiled at a high temperature until the starch becomes thick and sticky. It is then cooled in cold water to make the rice contract and encourage the growth of microorganisms. Yeast is then added to turn the starch into sugar, which then ferments into alcohol. The next step is the key process of fermentation. The fermentation determines the yield and quality of the vinegar. It takes 21 days to develop the sour taste. The final months-long process produces Zhenjiang vinegar's distinctive fragrance. Acidity can enhance the flavor of a dish, but in addition, the acidity of vinegar helps tenderize meat by breaking down the fibers. Sour foods promote digestion and stimulate appetite. Hot peppers can also stimulate the appetite. Last night's rain has made the mountain road slippery for Su Qiong and her husband as they hurry to get their chilies to market before the sun comes up. In winter, the chilies aren't as attractive as they were in other seasons, but that does not affect people's enthusiasm for them. Su Qiong is a vegetable farmer and the head of her family. Many Sichuan women like Su Qiong are cheerful yet tough and decisive. Chinese people call such women bold and spicy. Christopher Columbus brought chilies to Europe from the Americas in the 15th century. 100 years later, they were introduced into China. The Sichuan Basin has a wet climate with heavy rainfall, great weather for eating spicy food. Strictly speaking, spiciness is a sensory reaction rather than a flavor. The spicy or hot taste comes from the stimulation of the part of the tongue that senses pain and temperature. The most common hot spices in Chinese cuisine come from chilies from South America, ginger from Southeast Asia, and Sichuan peppers from China. The main chemical responsible for spiciness is capsaicin. Peppers and ginger bind with pain receptors in the mouth, creating a reaction in the brain similar to being burned. This feeling stimulates the appetite. Chilies are responsible for the character of Sichuan cuisine, whether used as a main ingredient, a secondary ingredient, or a seasoning. The people in the Sichuan Basin live a more leisurely life than people in the rest of China, and the unique flavor of their food comes from their understanding of chili peppers. In late autumn and early winter, people in Sichuan let their chilies dry naturally. But Suqiong's chilies still look fresh and shiny. Suqiong delayed the planting and harvesting of her chilies so she could get a higher price in winter. This idea earned her husband's admiration. Her fresh chilies also attract regular customers.
长一点的，红一点的，对。这种，我就要这个好的，我要这种2金条，要红亮的。有吗？是最好的，不然颜色出不来呀。
Liu Junjie, who is now 64 years old, is a distinguished Sichuan chef. 2 years ago, he returned to his hometown after a long career as a chef in America. Mr. Liu carefully pickles chilies in a large crock. He changes the water in the top of the crock every other day to control microbe growth. Pickled chilies are a classic Sichuan creation. A chemical reaction takes place in the crock that makes them softer and less strong. The invention of pickled chilies led to Sichuan's famous fish-flavored dishes. Fish-flavored shredded pork is a classic Sichuan dish.
我们四川的复合味也比较用得多，甜酸麻辣，它的交叉用就比较丰富，用起来呢就得心应手一点。
Liu Junjie believes that seasoning with pickled chilies requires skill. When he was away, cooking with them was a constant reminder of home. Another food featuring chili peppers that makes people from Sichuan feel nostalgic for home is spicy broad bean sauce. Mrs. Chen adds some processed broad beans to chopped fresh red chili peppers. She wants to take advantage of the good weather to dry the chilies in the open air. Every year, Mrs. Chen gives a jar of the sauce to each of her children.
香了，味道可以。
The chilies and beans slowly ferment in the crock. The delicious spicy sauce is almost ready. Sichuan spicy sauce is hot and strong. It's an important seasoning in Sichuan cuisine that gives color and aroma to the food. The sharp contrast between the mild taste of the tofu and the heavy flavor of the hot sauce mobilizes all the senses. The smooth texture and burning feeling on the tongue and throat have helped to make this particular dish, spicy tofu, popular across China and the world. Although pickled chilies and spicy broad bean sauce may be innovative uses of chili peppers, the real reason this cuisine is so popular in China is Sichuan peppers. Sichuan peppers originated in China and constitute China's most traditional seasoning. Today, Mr. Liu is making a classic dish using Sichuan peppers. He believes that authentic ingredients from his hometown are a must for perfect flavor. To find a better example of combining chili peppers and Sichuan peppers, we need to go to a different city. Bright red dried chilies are the main ingredient in Chongqing hot pot. The chilies are cut into small pieces and combined with other spices to give the hot pot its distinctive flavor. Every Chongqing hot pot restaurant has its own secret recipe, and everyone in Chongqing adjusts the flavor to their own personal taste. It's also said that their most famous cuisine mirrors the character of the people, i.e. frank, bold, and fiery. From the ingredients to the cooking, Chongqing hot pot is a perfect blend of meat and vegetables, raw and cooked ingredients, spicy and sweet taste, and light and heavy flavors. This reflects the Chinese people's understanding of a perfect blend of the 5 basic flavors. Chinese cooking methods are always changing and new flavors are always being invented. Some of these may be a ferocious assault on our taste buds like Sichuan food, but some allow us to appreciate the smooth and quiet beauty of sublime flavors. In December, the temperature in Dahao goes as low as 5 degrees Celsius. But this is the busiest time of year for Mr. Li, a veteran fisherman. An algae common in coastal regions called purple laver seaweed is growing under his feet. To Mr. Li, this is a gift from nature, but he must act quickly because the growing season is short. After repeated washing, the seaweed is placed on special bamboo mats to dry, and this produces its special fresh taste. Purple laver seaweed has been eaten in China for more than 1,000 years, and it's most commonly eaten in soup. The amino acids such as glutamine and alanine in the protein of the seaweed give it its great taste. The dried purple laver seaweed contains about 25% protein, and the amino acids from that protein are the key to the special flavor of this seaweed. Fishballs seaweed soup is a famous dish from the Chaozhou and Shantou area. The key to its great taste is a combination of plant and animal ingredients. However, this naturally great flavor is not easy to come by.
这个牢啊，破下去的时候，我们才来打，那才安防。如果说水涨高起来的时候来打是好危险的。如果说粘不稳的话，就会给丢到海里去。
Mr. Lee has to accept some risk to get a good harvest. For most people, enjoying this special taste is far easier. About 100 years ago, a Japanese scientist managed to extract glutamic acid crystals from algae. Today, it's known as MSG. Although MSG is still used extensively in Chinese cuisine, this is changing. In particular, people in southern China are turning instead to natural ingredients to provide the same flavor. After the harvest season ends, Mr. Lee likes to fish and relax while enjoying a strong cup of tea and some roasted seaweed. In Chinese, fresh originally referred to the taste of raw, unseasoned fish. But modern people are used to eating food that is cooked, and the people from Guangdong know best how to get the best flavor from the food through cooking. Early in the morning, customers come to Guangzhou's Wangsha market to buy the best seafood from around the world. Zhuang Qian often comes here to find the best ingredients. He began working as a chef at China's first 5-star hotel when he was just 18. Steamed fish in clear broth is a traditional Cantonese dish. The fish is quickly steamed over high heat. The quick cooking over high heat preserves the juices and flavor in the fish. During the steaming, the skin of the fish bursts open, showing that the fish is indeed fresh.
广东菜，它的命根是它的原材料。我一直很推崇那种清淡美食、自然的美食、原汁原味的美食。
Zhuang Qian was born in Guangzhou to a family of Cantonese opera actors, but he decided to break from the family tradition. This is an old part of Guangzhou where much of the city's traditional cuisine has been preserved. In the year 2000, Zhuang Qian resigned from his job as a food and beverage director to become a professional gourmet and promoter of Cantonese food and culture. He believes that preserving the original flavor of the ingredients is the key to good food. Another common Cantonese dish is white sliced chicken. The chicken is cooked for 15 minutes in water at 90 degrees Celsius, which keeps it tender. It's then placed in cold water to cool. This cooking method makes the skin crisp and the meat light and delicious. The Chinese concept of fresh can only be understood through direct experience.
鲜是我们中文的语言里面最伟大的一种表达方法啊，它具备了2种元素啊 ，fresh， 还有英文说不了的那种，只能够用好味 delicious 来表达。
Fresh is one of the 5 basic flavors, but it is easily the most prevalent and mysterious in Chinese cuisine.
Yeah. 嗱，其實咧，我哋今日都講咗好多即係同品酒有關嘅環節啦。
其實咧，我哋都好希望咧係。
Zhuan Chen's program and newspaper column feature many ideas on how to cook simple, healthy food and simplify your life. He shares his conclusions on food and life gained from years of experience. Chinese cooks are constantly experimenting with the 5 basic flavors to create new dishes that reflect the lives and character of Chinese people. The 5 basic flavors are balanced in Chinese cuisine so that none of the 5 flavors dominate. And Chinese chefs have been innovating for generations to achieve this ideal balance in their cuisine.